Hey folks, it's Kev here and welcome back to the next episode. Thanks for all the likes on the previous episode and comments. I want to give a particular shout out to Scott. He's suggesting that we go to the dark exit after checking out the cat bees. So let's jump in and do that now. Thanks again for joining us on the adventure today. But before we go any further, I just want to do a little bit of kind of housekeeping or show you something that I forgot to do or didn't get a chance to do at the end of the last episode. And this is something you don't have to do, but basically you'll see in my hand here I've got this this little location token that's a 2. So I've got a 2 here and another 2 beside it. Why have I picked a 2? Only because I can't find a set of zeros or ones to hand. The number doesn't really matter that much, and I will stress folks, you don't have to do this. But this is to do with the curiosity. If you remember, the curiosity is still in that room, and therefore what we can do, because it's unresolved, is place a location token there, which can be used to mark anything really, 1 there and 1 on the card, and then that gives us the ability to move the card away. Just gives us that bit of space. You don't have to do this, but it's something that can be done, and if this was a much busier map, I thought that might be some functionality that some of you might want to see. Just now, I'm just going to tidy up the map a little bit and dump it over here, primarily because I'm trying to build the map for some space, so bear with me. Just doing that there. Here we go. And now we've got the dark exit to hand, because we know, thanks to Scott, that we're going to go to the dark. So no pressure, Scott. If we all die here and get a total party kill, it's on you, mate. Now, I won't do a full recap, but basically we moved into a new location, and towards the end of the turn we found a massive beehive that had been smashed up with the bodies of some dead cat-sized bees, along with blood splattered everywhere, suggesting there had been some kind of fight or carnage, and we agreed we would go and check out the hives further, going to clue 136. So just revisiting that clue, we're on clue 20 here. Bodies of several cat-sized bees, okay, and this thing over here on the right is really just to hide the rest of the book. That's the only thing that's achieving just now, okay. But what it says is, if you want to stay and investigate the beehive, spend 1 time and read clue 136. Otherwise, continue the adventure. So the next thing I'm going to do then is to take this clue tracker that was obscuring the other side of the campaign book, okay. I'm going to flip it over down to the discovered clues section, and I'm going to find clue 20. There we go, down here. I'm going to find clue 20, and I'm going to grab my pencil. I've got a lovely one with some love hearts here. Clearly I've pinched this from my daughters. Seems like a fair trade, the amount of dice that they take from me. And I'm going to just tick this here. I'm hoping it shows up on the camera. It may not, but you get the idea, guys. Right, we found clue 20, so we're marking it accordingly. I'm now going to pan out and spend the time that is required to check out this hive. We made the choice with the clue. It's another way of us building this story in Legends Untold. So we're going to make the choice and spend that time to check out this clue properly. So turning to clue 136, it says, you look at the large beehives and their dead protectors. Inside many of the hives you find the bodies of rats and other small creatures. It looks like the giant bees were using the corpses for sustenance for the young. Ugh. And then it says, in terms of the rules, 1 hero may make an identify reason basic test with animal ken versus 13. The animal ken are the paws. There you go, there's my paw. Okay. On a success you manage to recover some corpse bee honey, 1 hero may drink the honey to heal for 1 health. Failure, you don't recover any honey and nothing happens. Success or failure, gain 1 level on the people and creatures track, and then continue the adventure. So I just briefly here want to turn over to the people and creatures track. Here you can see it on the right, and if we gain 1 level there, you can see as we gain more levels we'll gain additional clues and other benefits in the game I'm not going to show you just now. So there is an advantage to us gaining this 1 level on the people and creatures track. So spending that time has not been an inefficient use of it. However, in this particular case, because we've discovered this clue so early in the game, we don't actually need to heal anybody, and therefore it doesn't matter whether I succeed or fail, so I won't bother doing the test. But hopefully you get the point on how the clues would work, and obviously we're taking it easy on you with the start of the game because we want you guys to learn the game and enjoy the game. So now I'm going to turn to clue 136 on the discovered clues section. Just going to find it. Here we go, and I'm going to show it some love with my love heart pencil. Oh, the dad jokes are flying today. Sorry folks. 136, I just can't resist sometimes. And the important part here is that obviously we're gaining the level, you know, with regards to success or failure. So we have taken it easy with you, and I'm not going to show any more spoilers in terms of clues for this, folks. But yeah, these tracks, there are 3 of them. We're just going to tick off people and creatures because we've now got 1 level there. But you can also see there's a history of Deepsorrow and also an ancient artifacts one as well. So now that we've dealt with the clues, we're pretty much done with this location, and we're going to enter into the rest phase. So if you see here, there's just an icon here for camping. There's a campsite. We don't actually need to use it because we've nobody to heal. Okay, we're just going to rest in this occasion and not actually camp. I am aware that not everybody knows the game particularly well, so I'm going to take it nice and slow. Pan back, some crazy camera work here. Sorry folks, it's just the rig I've got. And you can see we've got 1 exhausted talent. That's the one that's moved over to the right in 90 degrees. So we get to restore that, okay, by resting. It doesn't cost us any time. We get to turn that around, and that's us now back to normal. So as we are getting ready to begin a new turn, we just need to do a little bit of tidying up here, folks. So I'm going to remove my sneak token off to the side because we haven't actually chosen a pace for the new turn, and I'm going to remove the alertness as well, just in readiness for the new turn. And now we can get ready for our new turn. So at the start of each turn, choose marching order, assign scout and guard. I'm happy to stay with what we had before, so we'll just stick with scout and guard as they were before. Now, check brightness of the exit you chose. Well, we asked, and we're going to go with dark. We liked the idea of that. So thanks for participating there, folks. So I'm going to put the dark token down, which is +2 to surprise tests, but harder scouting difficulty. It is harder to scout in the dark for sure, but will help us in combat if we need to surprise. So next thing, I'm just going to move our little token across to the dark exit. He's facing the wrong way. It's a bit early to be drinking Gandlin, so we'll just turn you around a bit. Come on, Kev, a little bit of theme, please. Get it there. So the next thing I have to do, of course, folks, is choose our pace, and the readiness tracker will keep you right here. So step 3, choose pace. And this is the bit, bear with me, I need to just spin my camera around a little bit, just so we can have a look at what our time deck looks like. There we go. If we look over here, again, sorry folks, if you look over here, we've got 2 time left. And so we can either choose to sneak in, but that would use both those time. And you've got to remember, I don't know what is going to come in this second card. I genuinely have no idea, folks. It's all randomly set up. So I can either do that, or I can rush in. Seems a bit premature at this stage in the adventure, which costs no time. And so because I don't want to set off an event yet, I'm just going to march. I'm going to choose a 1-time march. Therefore, it's a march into the dark exit. I'm going to spend this 1 time here. So I'm going to go with the default march, which is hard-coded on the readiness tracker, folks. And you can see that it says spend 1 time on entry, which is what we've done. So our readiness tracker is now up to date, and we need to next draw our location card so we can see what our scouting is going to look like. So we draw this card. What have we got here? We've got flooded cable room, and you can see there are some cable cars and lots of water. That's going to stop us going anywhere. Yeah, lots of water. Okay, and if you have a look as well, there's quite a lot of stairs in here, and this is something we brought into Deepsorrow. We want to make it feel more 3D, so we've gone with that in a lot of the rooms. There's an obstacle as we come in, and there's also a search zone and the foe. So we've got some work to do here, folks. Importantly, Into the Dark is harder, as we said, so it's a 10, okay? So we are looking for a 10 for the scouting test. So just building our map then. Pan the camera around a bit for you. What we do is we taking it nice and slow, because I know there are some new people to the game. So taking the card that we're going to go into, and we place the footsteps underneath the corner, or the exit that we're leaving from. The footsteps, I'll just try and zoom in a bit actually to help there, folks, bear with me. Okay, so the footsteps are telling us where to place the exit, okay? So we're sliding it under, hopefully you can see that there, and we now have a dark exit, so a dark corridor which joins onto a set of stairs with an obstacle ahead of us. But before we head up these steps, we need to check out the difficulty of 10, because it's a dark exit. A little bit of confirmation on the readiness tracker is our exit was dark, harder, scouting difficulty. So again, it's just confirming to keep you right when I'm not here, when you're playing the game, that the readiness tracker will keep you right, folks. So it's just a straight roll in this case, because we're not modifying with any kits or talents or anything. So moving across to the dice tower, I'm going to grab my 3d6 here. If I can just, there we go, pick them up, and I'm just going to drop them in. What have we got? That doesn't look good. We've got a 2, a 4, you can see that there, yeah, 4. So that's 6, and then the 1 you can see there for a 7. So that's a fail, folks. We failed to get it. I'm going to pick up the alert stroke careless marker. You can see we're not alert. If you look at the top of it there, we failed. We are careless because we didn't beat the 10, folks. That's why we've got the closed eye. We're careless. Traps and booby traps are automatically triggered. So looking at our readiness tracker now, we're dark, we marched, and we are careless. The readiness tracker will keep us right throughout the rest of the turn. And I can now move over, look at that location card, and see that the first thing we've got to do is deal with an obstacle. So the next thing we need to do then really is to go across, just panning over to the obstacle deck. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to get here. I hope it's not a trap because we are careless. But it is in fact, let's have a look. It's a trial. It's a trial. So it's broken piston. So let's just take a closer look at this broken piston card. We can see here that it's a trial and it's a basic test. So one hero has to make one of the 3 tests given below. It's not a party test, okay? So swim, brawn, etc. One hero must test either. In the top right, we can see it's got a pennant, and that means it's an engineering specialty. We have no engineers in our party, unfortunately, so that doesn't help us. 2 times kit, we're level 1, we don't have any kits at the moment that can help with this. And then some slightly tweaked icons here, but this means that we have mechanical and flooding in this location, folks. So if you have a closer look at the location card, we can see that there is already a flooding icon on it. And so if we skip back to the broken piston, you can see the add flood token or icon there. We don't need it. However, there is a mechanical icon, and I don't have a mechanical icon just now because the prototype didn't work in this respect. So this token will look nothing like the final product, guys. Nothing like it at all. I do apologize, but it's standing just now, so make believe. It's very big as well, but this is just used as a proxy because I had it to hand for mechanical. So moving to the rest of the card, it says a massive bronze piston has seized, flooding this place with water and blocking progress. One hero must test either swim brawn versus 12, move grace versus 15, or mend handle versus 15. So having checked out these options, I don't think there's anything we can do to help us here, folks. We are level 1, okay, so we don't have anything else really. The most likely thing we might have had to help us through this test might have been a specialty in engineering. That was possible on a character build, but we don't have that. We don't have any engineers in the party, so let's just crack on here, okay? what I want to show you here is that if we do the swim brawn, okay, and we pass, we still have bad stuff, okay. There's an icon here which is exhaust. Now for those that are used to the game, you will know that card from exhausting your talents, okay. But in this case, we're using it more often in Deepsorrow. What we're saying is that even if you succeed in this card, you could do something a bit more athletic with Move and Grace, and that will just cost you some time. Or you might even be able to get the piston to work using some Menhandle, and that will cost you time. But if you swim brawn, the water is icy cold, so it's going to cost you time, and it's going to tire you out. If you fail, it's going to cost you a wound, even worse. But in the green, it's time and an exhaust. You will exhaust yourself. So I'm just going to have a look at my plucky envoy over here, who, if I can get the camera to stabilize, has got a brawn. Bear with me. It's got a brawn of 2. Okay, so for the swim brawn check, the simplest one, a brawn of 2. We get to add that to the dice roll. I'm just going to spin the camera all the way over to, there we go, to the dice tower, and take my 3d6. It's just a straight roll with the +2 for the attribute. We're trying to beat a 12, folks, so swim brawn versus 12. Come on, our envoy, let's go. Ooh, very good. That's pretty cracking, actually. 6, 12. I think you can see them quite easily, yeah? You've got a 6, 12, yeah, and another 3 for a 15. So, swim brawn versus 12, 15. That is a pass, okay? And if I read the fluff, I'll swim down and open the drain. The water is icy cold. So it costs us 1 time and the exhaust, okay? But for just now, I just want to show you something here for those learning the game, or even for seasoned players. This is a basic test, okay? It's not a party basic test, but if this was a party basic test, then everybody in the party is required to make this test, okay? And they can choose any of the 3 tests. Each individual hero can take any of the 3 tests, and if we beat the required result by 2 or more, so in this case the 12 would become a 14, and if you remember we got a 15, then it's a critical pass and somebody else succeeds. So I've just discarded the obstacle card here, and now we need to do the part where we exhaust the talent. If you remember, there was an exhaust because of the icy cold water. So world-wise, I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees to the right, and that is us exhausting that talent. And the reason I've done that is because I want to keep my Hawk's Eye talent, my weapon talent here, because looking ahead at the rest of the location card, I can see the fist at the top, which is a foe icon, so I know that I have a fight coming, and therefore I want to retain, we're only level 1, remember, so we need everything we've got. I want to retain my weapon talent for that fight. And now we need to deal with the time aspect. So remember, it was an exhaust and a time. Please, I know the camera's all over the place, guys. Forgive me. So I'm just going to take my time and turn it over because it's the last one. So we are going to resolve this event, and what we get is Flood of Beetles event. And the fluff says, the sands beneath Deepsorrow are filled with indigenous beetles. Something has stirred their nests and they are on the move. If the current location has insects, then all heroes must make a move grace. So let me just check the location card first. Pretty sure it does have insects. There you go there. If you have a look, you can see the hard-coded insect icon on it, alongside floods, reptiles, and of course mechanical. And if I can just point out to the card, I'll try and zoom it a little bit for you if I can here as well. We try and add some theme here. We've got a little bug in there. It's a little kind of millipede, angry millipede centipede type thing. I appreciate, before you all shout at me, that that's technically an arthropod and not an insect. It works, please. So we've established that we've got insects in the location. So reading the rest of it then. If the current location has insects, then all heroes must make a move grace versus 11 party basic test. Each hero that fails then takes 1 wound as they are bitten by beetles. Okay, and if we have a look down, there's a legendary effect for those that don't know the game. That's a way of making the game harder. Some people like to play it on this level. Increase the difficulty of the test to 12, and the effect on failure is 1 poison and a wound. So they're poisonous beetles if we play on legendary mode. I appreciate some of you play on legendary, some of you don't. It's a different style of game. Important to point out here though, folks, is that this is a party basic test, okay? Party basic. So as I was describing before, this is the one that if you can beat that score of 11 by 2 or more, because we're not playing legendary here, by 2 or more, then somebody else will pass. So I've got nothing to help me here. However, the grace on my Earth Guide is a 2, whereas on my Envoy, my grace is a 1. So I'm going to let the Earth Guide go first in the hope that I can get a crit here and get a free pass for the Envoy effectively, to pass the beetles. So I'm just going to grab my dice into the dice tower with us, and we are going to get, have a look, we're going to get 5 and a 3, hopefully you can see this in the camera, that's an 8, yep, and then a 2 for a 10, so that's 8 plus 2 is 10, plus the 2, yeah, plus the 2 for the Earth Guide is a 12. So we've got a 12 on this test against these beetles indigenous to Deepsorrow, and that is versus an 11 for the party basic test. So remember folks, this is totally unscripted, but what I am going to do is point out stuff as we go, which I think will help people digest the game. So 12 versus an 11, the Earth Guide is absolutely fine. Dancing around, beetles do not concern her in any way. So the Earth Guide is fine. However, because we didn't beat it by 2, we didn't get a 13, the Envoy needs to test. So our poor Envoy has only got a grace of 1. So we're going to take our 3 dice and roll them in the dice tray. We've got, what's that, a 4? Yeah, 4. And a 5. Yeah, so that's us at 9. Plus 2 for 11. And we already have the 1 as well to make a 12. So the Envoy is fine as well. No problems. So we survived the beetles. Okay, they don't worry us at all. And we discard this. I'm just going to do this off camera to save moving it around this time. Bring the time deck to me. And we've now got 1 less time in it. There's the card's been discarded. I get to shuffle these. No need to riffle shuffle. Who needs it? Okay, and we've got 1 less time card in the deck, and that's important because that actually means that we've got, 5 less cards to draw, then 4 less cards, etc, etc. So back to the location card, and I can see that we've got a foe. Okay, we've got a foe to deal with next, but before we do that, we need to move Gandlin up past the obstacle, because we got past the broken piston and we dealt with the beetles. Easy, dead easy for us. Okay, and there is also a search zone which we can stop in, but we can't check that search zone out till we deal with the foe. So in terms of the foe, what we do is go over to our adventure deck and draw until we find a foe card. So our first card we draw is an encounter. So we just discard this just now because we're not looking for an encounter. We're not looking for discovery or encounter. Second card we draw is a corpse bee, and that is a foe. Okay, you can see the fist at the top. And if you look at this, hopefully it starts to make sense now. We took some feedback from you that you wanted to have more variety in the foes, and this is why we've gone with seeded foes in Deepsorrow, because they make sense, right? You found clues that work alongside the foes, and in this case, this corpse bee is what we're gonna fight here, and that's what we're gonna look at next. Oh, he's changed view. Okay, folks, what I've done here is move to a vertical shot because I want to focus in on a couple of the cards here specifically. But in this case just now, we've got our foe, and what we've done is introduce a combat aid into Deepsorrow as well. So the first thing we want to do is below the foe icon is check the readiness number. So the difficulty is to surprise the creature. So in this case it's a 10. You can see that there hopefully below the foe icon, and also check whether it's ranged or melee. So you can see there's a ranged icon. We're on the melee foe side of this combat aid, so I'm going to switch it over, just flip it over to the ranged foe side, and that's where we'll place our card. Okay, and what we're going to do is to place that card down there. So that's us now the first step of setting up that combat aid. Now, if you remember, we have a +2 to surprise this because we scouted in the dark. Oh, I'll just put that back down. Okay, so we're on a +2 already to surprise these bees, and I really want to surprise them. I want the drop on them. So just thinking about our heroes and what we've got here, if I just quickly pan this over a little bit more, there we go, and have a look at our Earth Guide. Now, our Earth Guide is a Wrathlander, and you can see these beautiful eyes here. Okay, the Wrathlanders are used to living both in the harsh environment of the desert and underground, and therefore they have some different physiology to us. And one of these adaptive physiology talents is bright eyes. So if the brightness level is dark, then the party gains mastery on surprise tests. And we know that we're dark. Oh, there's been an earthquake or a cat. Maybe it was the corpse beast. Who knows? The crazy cat corpse beast. Sorry, folks, I'm mucking about. So it's a dark tunnel. Yeah. And that's why we get our +2 on surprise. And also we can use the bright eyes ability from the adaptive physiology talent. So I'm going to exhaust that to add mastery to the +2. So what does that mean then, Kev? Well, normally we use 3d6 in Legends Untold, but if we've got mastery, we take a 4th die, so that's 4d6, and we roll all 4 together and we remove the lowest result. So I know I'm labouring this, guys. I'm just trying to help people who don't know the game. Okay, if you remember, we've got a +2 to surprise because of the dark exit from a readiness tracker, and we've got mastery as well, and we are trying to beat a 10, but we want to beat it by as much as possible if we can. We certainly don't want to be lower than it. So I'm going to roll my dice, and there we go. That's not bad. Let me just see if I can move this over a bit, because it's important for surprise. We do get asked about this a lot, and that's why I've gone with the vertical shot here partly. So we've got a 3, a 5, a 4, and a 3. So obviously the 3s are joint lowest. Let's take that out of the way, because we still only take 3 dice here, guys. 5, 9, 12. Okay, 5, 9, 12 plus my 2. Hopefully the camera can see that, for 14, and that's against a 10. So we beat the score by 4 or more. Okay, and that means that we have surprised the foe, and that's great news. So for the observant amongst you, you will see that this actually says Heroes Surprised at the top of this token. Again, it's a prototype. It should be the heroes have surprised, sorry. But the heroes gain advantage, okay, and all ranged foes gain disadvantage. That's what the readiness tracker will say with that token when it's correct in the final production copy. And so, important to note here, because a lot of people forget this, we're level 1, we don't always want to fight. If you've got surprise, you can choose to run away at this point. Now, we're not going to, because we want to show you combat. I want to teach the game and show off a little bit of it, but you can run away. So let's have a look at these corpse bees then, folks. Just going to pan the camera around a little bit and grab our card. So if you bear with me here, yep, here we go. We've got, we know it's a foe, okay, and the important point to look at here is the number of them. So there are 4 corpse bees. If you look under my thumb, for the 2 heroes there are 4 corpse bees, and they flee when there is 1 left. And that too, it's important to note, folks, is for the number of heroes, not the number of players, because you could be, multi-handing this as 1 player or whatever. Also, please note there are insects in this location. Now we know, we went through this a minute ago. Hopefully if you remember, I'll just pan in just to make sure though. Yeah, you can see the insects icon. So we've got flooding, insects, reptiles, and mechanical in this location. There's a lot in this location, guys. But there are insects, and that kind of makes sense, right? If there weren't insects in this room, you would add them. If we kind of want to roleplay this, we can say that they are perhaps, still alive prey of the corpse bees, something like that. But the important thing is that would have impacted the event we just had if there were not insects in this room. then dynamically this card would have changed this location, added insects, and that would have meant that we would have encountered beetles. So it's important guys. Now, what we're going to do is take 4 of the Corpse Bee tokens. I'm just going to try and hold it to the camera there, hopefully you can see it. It's, let me get the light on it properly. There, I'm hoping you can see the picture, the pretty picture we've got for you. Those Corpse Bees are hard-coded with 1 health as well, folks. So they've got 1 health each, and we know that it's a ranged foe. Okay, so they go in the ranged foe section of the ranged foe side of the combat aid. So I now have my heroes to the side on, and I know that my envoy has got a crossbow. Okay, so my envoy is definitely going to go ranged in the range section for heroes on the combat aid. But I do need to have a think about the Wrathlander, because the Wrathlander is primarily a melee build with the battered axe, but we do have a couple of cool Storm's Breath abilities, which lets me make a ranged attack. And given that we're in the engagement round, I do want to show that off, particularly because we get to play around with shock, and I want to show you that, folks. So just summing up here then, right, we've got the 4 Corpse Bees in the ranged foe section, we've got our envoy in the ranged hero section, and I've got the Earth Guide who is choosing to go in the ranged hero section as well. And then finally, I would just point out that, again, look at the token with the error. The heroes gain advantage, the ranged foes gain disadvantage in the engagement round. And now I'm going to swap out to Tabletop Sim, folks. So please join us in part B.